It's no joke when you choke, so get LifeVac and live. Without breath, there'll be death. So get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live.
LifeVac and live.
Get LifeVac and live. Hey, welcome to The Man in the Arena, brought to you by LifeVac, the show where we dive deep into stories of grit, perseverance, and the courage to step forward when the world says you can't. Today, we're honored to have a very special guest, Eric Sunstead, joining us for a conversation that goes straight to the heart of possibility and purpose. Together, we'll explore two powerful chapters from Arthur Lee's inspiring book, Sorry, Can't is a Lie. First, we'll tackle chapter 1, can't, a word Arthur believes should be erased from our vocabulary, replaced with action, creativity, and relentless determination. Then, only then, we'll reflect on the Serenity Prayer, a timeless reminder about the wisdom to know what we can change, the peace to accept what we cannot, and the courage to act when it matters most. So sit back, listen in, strap in, and prepare to be
bumpy
inspired.
ride, yes.
Because the man in the arena, there's no room for a can't. My name is Rick Fatscher. Welcome to the Man in the Arena. Joined as always, Patrick O'Rourke. Pat, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
It's a pleasure. Give a round of applause for the guests, not necessarily myself. It's totally okay. And
That's called popcorn in the business, wasn't it?
Is that what it's called?
Just a little bit of smattering. Yes.
Smattering of applause.
Mercy
Now,
applause.
of course, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is we're missed Arthur Lee.
Oh, Arthur Lee.
No,
I thought it was about me again.
No,
I know I'm
again.
in fat camp.
You're
but
doing
come
the
on.
work.
Yes,
You're doing the work. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm down 22 pounds in 5 weeks.
And who are these fine folks?
PhD weight loss center in North Carolina. And Heather is my counselor. She's from Maryland.
And she's a very positive young lady.
Everything I do is positive. But actually, I did go on vacation and didn't gain weight, which is pretty impressive for me.
Home run.
Yes.
Home run. That was up in Cape Cod?
Cape Cod. My son got engaged, and then we went to Lake George for a couple days.
Nice.
And there was the Canadian wildfires, so it was nice, but it was cloudy. It was smoky, but
smoky. And the most important part, well, not the most important part, but a good result was no weight gain.
correct.
Neutral.
Yes.
Weight neutral, as they call it in the trade.
Yes.
So again, we miss Arthur Lee. He's always here in spirit, especially his book. So I want to say before we get too far into the show that you should go. We don't always talk about LifeVac. We talk about people in the arena, but we do want to point out that folks should go and prepare, protect your family, protect those you love, and get a copy of the book. But go to lifevac.com or lifevac.net. I think you can go to .com now and be okay. But use code MITA, Man in the Arena, to get a nice discount on protecting those you love. Get a copy of the book, Sorry, Can't is a Lie. And I'm really excited to speak to our first guest.
Yes.
Eric Sunstead is a man that I met as Eric Miller, and we're going to get more into that. But Eric, are you with us?
I am with you. Yes, I am. Hello, gentlemen. Good to see you, of course, Rick. Haven't seen you in a while. How you doing?
It's been a while. And it almost came to fruition a couple weeks ago. We won't get into the details of my horrid travel experience, but got stuck in Boston, not anywhere close to Syracuse, but we were going to convene for a nice golf outing with the SU alumni crew, and it just it wasn't meant to be for me. Did you guys have a good time?
I did not go. No, I did.
Oh.
I couldn't go either. So I heard about your travels and the whole nightmare through.
And you didn't even you hadn't even attempted, not out of solidarity, but you had.
I didn't even bother.
Stuff.
I figured, you know what, it's not even worth it. No, that was actually the first year I haven't gone in a while, but yeah, didn't go.
Yeah, I said you, along with Scott Damon, I have to say, are part of the people that get people out, that don't necessarily think they want to go or have other things that they could, certainly make an excuse, and they may say can't. I can't make
Not
it.
a word.
I can't go. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
Could not.
Perfect lead in.
Arthur could not be here tonight because can't's not a word.
Just can't do it. Don't want to use that word. Can't.
No.
Exactly.
No, when
No.
you use it, you get smacked. Especially
hear
if
you.
Arthur was here, he'd smack us. Now, I think of you, and I think of this chapter because we like to, number one, find a great guest, line them up, but then think about what aspects of the book. And your professional career has really defined can't. Now, let's go back to the soccer experience, because we could certainly rely on the games do count, and that falls into play. But you came from Ohio Wesleyan. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the hometown of Pittsford.
There you go. Pittsford, New York. You got it. Yep.
Pittsburgh, New York gets horns. No, it's up near Rochester, correct?
Yeah, suburb of Rochester, New York. Yeah, Pittsford Mendon High School is where I went. Yep.
Yeah. Now you went
Bausch
to
and Lomb.
Ohio Wesleyan.
Went there freshman year. Yes.
Playing ball. Now, how did it come to fruition that you found yourself in Syracuse as sophomore year?
Well, I knew of Alden, our coach Alden Shattuck. I wasn't really thinking about Syracuse at the time. Coming out of high school, I was recruited by a number of other schools. Ohio Wesleyan kind of put the full court press on me a little bit. I went there.
Back then, that's all it needed.
I liked it, but the school. I realized the school was too small, and the soccer was great. I mean, we're one of the top schools in the country, soccer wise. But I started thinking about Syracuse. My parents went there. I've always loved the school. I connected with Alden. Ironically, my coach at Ohio Wesleyan, Jay Martin, who's one of the all-time best coaches of throughout the country, he was, I think, roommates with Alden at Springfield College.
Yeah,
so they knew each other. One thing led to another. I wanted to transfer, made it work, and I'm glad I did.
Was that? I mean, because back then, let's not date ourselves too much, but it wasn't even email. It was phone calls and letters.
Was it a year off too? Like some people it out a year.
That's a good question. Ironically, it's interesting because it was going from Division III to Division I. When you go to Division I and Division III back in the day, you had to sit out a year. 3 to 1, you didn't. So I went there and actually had to get this release letter from the school. It actually took longer than we thought it would be. I don't know if you remember, Rick, but I missed like the first 2 games because I wasn't officially cleared. So my first game for Syracuse was the UConn game when we beat them in the Dome.
Oh boy.
Remember that? That was great because they were, they had won the national championship a couple years before, and we were the underdog, whatever. So that was my first game in a Syracuse uniform, and so I had to miss a couple games in the beginning, but it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. So it's interesting when you talk about we spoke earlier about Alden Shattuck, coach. Would they cut, being roommates, were they cut from the same cloth? Were they similar coaches?
They were complete opposites.
Wow.
I really thought that they were. It was interesting because Alden was kind of reserved, really knew the game. Jay knew the game really well too, but Jay was one of those guys that was always joking around and just very outgoing. Alden was just a little bit more reserved. But once you got to know Alden, as we all know, Alden was such a great guy, and he knew soccer like no one else.
Yeah. So it was right after it was 1 year when we went. That was a very successful year where you went to the first round of the NCAAs. And then not long thereafter, we lost to Hartwick, but we were
What year
surprised.
were you?
So this was 85. I was a junior.
So junior year?
You were a sophomore.
I was a sophomore,
right?
yeah.
That was your first year there, where Alden came in and announced to us, complete shock, that he was going to your school, Maryland.
The Terps.
Yep. Went to the Terps. And it was a shock. I was so disappointed. I was like, oh my God, you kidding me? I'm settling in here. This is going to be great. Loved Alden as my favorite coach of all time. And, it was disappointing. It was a shock, as you remember.
We need more sun.
Yeah. I mean,
you guys are indoor all winter.
There were certain meetings where you just kind of go and get blindsided. And that was definitely one of them where he's leaving. And, for me, junior, you sophomore, and you just transferred in. So it was 1 full year and probably the most successful season. And then all of a sudden we're starting again. So talk about the difference in coaching styles or maybe the quick departure from Alden's style to Tim and how that affected you, because we're going to get to in a second, your coaching career.
Yeah. I mean, basically in my college career, I had 3 different coaches. That doesn't happen very often, except in that nowadays when guys are transferring and grad students in the whole, the college atmosphere is completely different now, but back then it was rare for three different coaches in my career. So it was definitely a challenge. Tim was one of those guys who wanted to come in and make a name for himself right away. What he didn't realize is that we had such a core, unbelievable group. We had 1 senior that was graduating. I mean, we were definitely one of the better teams in the country. I mean, we were top 20 the whole year, both those years, off and on. And I think put it this way, I'm not saying it was easy for him. It was difficult to coming in there with only, having no recruits. Maybe a couple of recruits that he brought in at the last minute, but he basically inherited a full squad that was one of the best in the country. So that's difficult.
Right.
Their styles are definitely different,
definitely different styles. Definitely different styles.
I mean, I don't
you
know
say
how
Nick come in, make a name for himself. I point to the example of our a friend, a guy on the team, Kevin Ward Smith, who couldn't have been less of a discipline problem, but quickly got into trouble, as I did, and other seniors. It was just looking back. Tim Hankinson, God rest, may he rest in peace, really was just trying to shake things up and put his stamp on the team.
He was. And I think, in my opinion, I think that was a mistake, because what you do is you inherit a good team. You work with that. The chemistry's there. You don't want to disrupt that. Maybe you have your input. Maybe you put your stamp on a few things. But to disrupt it as much as I think it was disrupted, I didn't agree with it. Having said that, we got through it and we did well, again, it wasn't easy for him, but we had a core chemistry that made it work. And, a few guys here and there weren't happy, but we made it work. I think we could have had a better record and done actually better than we did, even though we won the Big East championship. I think we could have gone further. But ironically, if you remember, they stopped the automatic bids if you win a conference championship that 1 year. So we didn't get an automatic bid, which is ridiculous. And they changed it back. Is
it too late to file an appeal on that? Let's go back. Turn those machines back on.
But and that was so frustrating, because the UConn fans, I remember they're yelling, "You guys, we're going to the tournament. You're not." We're like, "What? That doesn't make sense. We just beat you." So, anyways, that's water under the bridge. But
so I bring up the chapter of the book, "Sorry, Can't Is a Lie" by Arthur Lee, and I see Can't, and I realized that shortly after you got into your adult life, you didn't, people would have told you, not only from the broadcasting, which we'll get to, but from coaching, you can't just jump into Babson College and become a coach. How did you pull that off?
So, briefly, I think I told you, I blew out my knee playing in 2008. And I knew I had, 9 months to recover. I still wanted to keep playing, but I knew I couldn't play right away. So I reached out to the head coach there, who's been there forever. John Anderson. He's a legend. He's still there now. I reached out to him. It took a while to connect with him, and maybe the winter of 2009.
Wait, Eric. So 2008 and 2009?
I'm sorry?
2008 and 2009.
Correct, yes.
How old are you at this point?
I was in my 40s.
And still playing?
My early 40s, yeah.
Okay. You are a soccer lover, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a what?
Soccer lover.
I know.
Blowing your knees out in intramural games.
Well,
Pat, just so you know, Eric, Pat is learning and he's come a long way since high school, because we went to high school together.
Yep.
Football, lacrosse, or wrestling certainly wasn't always the easiest of times. With this wouldn't have happened as much, even though we were lifelong friends.
I actually bought season tickets to a soccer team this year.
Amazing.
Oh, did you?
Great. But
anyway, keep going. Okay, so we're
converting you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I was playing in an over 40 league, and you can't get it out of your blood. You want to keep playing. I was still fit. I can still try to play, and I blew out my knee. But anyways, I never had knee problems, but age will do that to you. So long story short, I connected with Coach Anderson, and he said, "Yeah, I could use a volunteer assistant." I'm like, "All right, great." So he's like, "Well, would you be open to being the goalie coach?" And I'm like, "I was never a goalie. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if that's going to help you." But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I've been a forward my whole life. I've always wanted to score goals. Maybe that's a different perspective from a goalie, looking at it from that perspective. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna come in and try to beat you. Maybe that'll help the goalie. So anyways, I inherited a really good goalie. He was a sophomore at the time. I think he started his freshman year as well, even though I wasn't there that year. But sophomore year on, we had a great rapport. His name's Pete Crowley, great kid, big kid. You got to have a big, tall, strong goalie, and that's what he was. And we went to the first year we won our conference championship. Next year, I think we did. And then we went to the Sweet 16 his last 2 years, and he became an All-American his senior year. And it was definitely because of him, not because of me. But we had such a good rapport and a good relationship. I think it really helped him. And I was willing to work with him however he wanted to and give him some ideas from a different perspective as a forward. And, I learned the goalie tricks and the drills and all that stuff that you did for many years. And, it's a learning experience, but we kind of grew together and it really worked.
Yeah. We're going to be back with more of Eric Sunstead after this break. Be right back with us on The Man in the Arena.
Protect your family. Buy LifeVac now.
Thank you, Daddy.
That was us over 10 years ago.
Now LifeVac is responsible for saving over 4,000 lives from choking.
In the time it takes you to pick up the phone and call, another life could be saved.
The LifeVac saved my life in 1 to 2 seconds.
Protecting families has always been our mission. I'm sure you love your family like I love my daughter. Do us all a favor and get your own LifeVac now.
Go to lifevac.net or call 877-LifeVac. Order now.
And we're back on The Man in the Arena. My name is Rick Fatscher, along with Pat O'Rourke. Missing tonight, but always here in spirit, is Arthur Lee, CEO, inventor of LifeVac. And we're talking with Eric Sunstead. Eric Sunstead, with a round of applause, is back again. Eric, thanks for sticking with us through the commercial break. Before we went out, you were talking about 17. The question I have for you, 17 years coaching at Babson, started out as a volunteer. At some point, please tell me they started to pay you.
Yeah, after a couple of years, I said, Coach, listen, can you just throw me a bone a little bit? He worked it out. Yeah, and so I did get paid. It was a part-time gig, it was a seasonal thing, but I came back, and got paid for most of the time. And the great thing about Babson, my daughter just graduated from there, so I'm a big fan of the school. But it's unique in that especially the soccer alums, and you and I can relate to this, is they're outstanding. And these guys are, entrepreneurs. This is the top business school in the country. So these guys are starting their own companies. There's so many good connections with the alums. And so like my daughter's looking for a job now. She's getting hooked up with my former players, former coaches, stuff like that. So it's such a great connection. And I think that's really valuable, especially for a small school, but it's a great business school. So, the alums have been very helpful.
That's great, because Babson, it seems to be the community. Like I remember other schools in the Northeast. Certainly Syracuse had a name, but I'm thinking of that. What's that school in Rhode Island that is like
Williams?
No, not Williams. Bryant.
Oh,
Bryant. Like where it came out of it was a college, now it's a university,
yeah.
But it really seemed to create its own. High Point is another one that kind of come on and created an identity.
We've seen them blossom.
Yes.
And Bryant, you mentioned Bryant. That's a great business school too. And my son went to Bentley. So Bentley, Bryant, and Babson are all fantastic business schools with 3 Bs in this New England area. And, they're all really good business schools. And the great entrepreneurs come out of those schools all the time. I mean, the Bomba sock guys, those guys are Babson kids from however many years ago.
Bryant, yeah. Bradley, and Babson. That's fun to say.
Bryant, Bentley, and Babson. You got it. The 3 Bs.
The killer bees, yes.
Now, so we'll come back to soccer coaching, but I want to also talk about you go to Syracuse University School of Business, correct?
No, I was actually in arts and sciences, so I was a psychology
arts and sciences, psychology, which is great, which is perfect for dealing with me. But you didn't go to the broadcasting school, so Newhouse. So if you ask people that went to Syracuse, especially that weren't playing a sport, and you told them, you know what, one day I'm going to broadcast for the ACC and the I guess the Big East, NCAA games, and all over the Northeast. You were involved with many teams. People again would say, you can't do that, Eric. How did the broadcasting start?
Well, I took a few classes at Newhouse. Obviously wasn't in the school, but I got a real taste of it, and you were in it, so you knew more than anyone how great a school it was, and you get a flavor of that. And I was always interested in broadcasting. And then when I came to Boston, I had been training with a few teams, and I was in contact with a USL team called the Boston Bulldogs, and I was doing some stuff for them. And I started announcing with them, and I connected with the Revolution because they were sort of like the farm team for the Revs, not officially, but they move guys up and down all the time. We played with them with the Revs and stuff. So just connected with them, and I said, if you ever need a fill-in guy, here's my resume tape, and let me know what you think. And sure enough, they called, and for 3 or 4 years, I was the fill-in guy for TV and radio. Probably 4 or 5 games a year, which isn't a lot, but it was a blast. I was doing games in what's now Gillette Stadium. Before I did at Foxborough Stadium before they tore it down, and then Gillette. I traveled a couple times to New York and Kansas City. So, it's really about the resume tape, and if you have a good education, a good degree, that's going to take you places. And if you're okay on air or good enough, someone will give you a shot. So.
Pat, I'm watching his reels in the last couple of days, and really amazing that there wasn't formal on-air training. I mean, the game, obviously.
You didn't go to Connecticut School of Broadcasting?
No. And I wouldn't. I thank you for that, Ricky. I wouldn't say that. I mean, there's always learning going on. I mean, there are times when I'm still doing games for BC, and I'm like, what did I just say? Oh my God, that was so stupid. Just said it. What I'm learning is you got to talk less sometimes, as some of the great announcers just let the game speak for itself.
Yeah, JP Delacamera doesn't know that.
But yeah, I know. A lot of American guys don't, and you watch the Premier League, and some of the guys, they just sit back and let the game do the talking. And that's what you have to do sometimes. It's hard not to talk about certain players and what's going on, what you see on the field, because you get really excited about it. But you have to step back a little and kind of chill out, But
yeah. That's especially in the role of color or play-by-play.
Right.
Both really need to let the game kind of breathe. And something we don't always see. But again, watching the reels, very impressed with your passion, your knowledge of the game, which no one can doubt. But it's not an easy thing, because we've seen former players, former coaches stumble in that role. I think of Tim Howard.
Yeah, no, and I do all the time.
Just now.
Yeah, no, believe me, I stumble all the time, and it's a learning thing. The more games you do, the better you get, and the more comfortable you get. A lot of things too is the big thing is your play-by-play guy. I mean, I've had some really good guys that are just total pros. So that always helps too. That you got a good partner, and they kind of lead the way and let you go with what you got.
So coming up with the World Cup coming up, is there any avenue for you to participate in that arena?
I don't know. I'm kind of behind the 8 ball right now. I haven't really reached out and done a lot of that. I've been real busy with a lot of other stuff with work and family stuff, but it's not out of the question. I would love to be like a sideline reporter for games, or I did the Women's World Cup at Gillette many, many years ago, just sideline stuff, and I've always been kind of involved with that, but I've kind of been removed from the Revs for the last few years because their broadcasting changed a bit. Brad Feldman, I know pretty well, but so things have changed. I don't know. I'm totally open to it. I want to do as much as I can and stay in the game, but I'll be doing a lot of Boston College games this fall, doing some ACC games. So yeah.
Is the World Cup, is it all over the country again, or is it mostly West Coast?
3. No,
it's Canada, US, and Mexico. Yeah.
But I remember 30 years ago, probably 94, I think.
94. Yeah, 94.
They had a lot of East Coast games, the Meadowlands. They're going to have them there again.
The finals.
Absolutely. I think the finals in the Meadowlands. Yeah, right.
Oh, it is? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Foxborough will have some. Yep. It'll be all over. Yep. The big cities.
Yeah.
And ironically, this is just kind of a footnote. Babson, we've always hosted international teams because we have a great campus that's away from the city. So the people, the guys can't go out, whatever. We hosted Juventus a few years ago. They trained with us for two weeks while they traveled to different parts of the country to play exhibitions and stuff. So in '94, they had Babson hosted Argentina. There's some good stories about Maradona and stuff. So I wasn't there then, but some good stories because we have a hotel on campus, which really helps. So
is Babson, the Boston Marathon, is that run by Babson?
Not far. Yes. It's about a mile away. Yeah.
I remember that a long time ago.
You did it?
I did a half marathon. We stopped in Wellesley, which is halfway. My brother had a house there.
So yeah. Babson's in Wellesley. Yeah. And I'm in Natick, which is the next town over. Yeah. So,
yeah. And what do you do full time, Eric? We do it with, we know all these other extracurricular things you do. What do you do full time?
So I work for a federal housing program. I'm a director for a federal housing program. So
Is that
yeah,
all across the country? Or
uh,
is regional?
well, we subsidize vouchers across national, that they're federal vouchers. So I'm the director of the federal program, but we're obviously based in Massachusetts, so we have a state program as well. But most of the people that we work with are in Massachusetts, but they can move anywhere in the United States.
I was just thinking of our weekend audience, which is in, California, Texas, Orlando,
Keep dropping names.
Allentown, dropping those names. And then, of course, New York. But
Yeah.
I always, sometimes forget when we're talking about all this extra stuff that you do. I mean, you do not.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, does this guy have a job? He does a lot of stuff.
Well, I know it's believe me, it's a grind. It's been, and the fall season's a grind. That's why I had to really hang it up this year. It's going to be really tough, but I'm going to go to the games and I'll be a little bit less. Well, for now, anyways, yeah.
You'll be back. You'll get the bug again in a couple of
years. I know.
And always go back. So another thing that we talked about earlier when catching up was teamimpact.org.
Yep.
And as you mentioned it, and I started doing a little research, what an amazing organization. Reminds me of Make-A-Wish, but different, more so a long-standing relationship with someone rather than like an event, like, I want to go to Disney World. How'd you get involved with Team Impact?
Well, I mean, it's really through Babson. They reach out to colleges throughout the country, and they really try to place, kids with disabilities with a college team. And that's what they did with Babson. We've had a Team Impact player with us for maybe 12 years, something like that. Will McHugh is his name. Great kid. I think he's about 13 or 14 years old now. So he started with us when he's real young. And he's been a part of the team like you cannot believe. The guys just embrace him. He embraces the team. His family is an unbelievable family. They're so nice. We've really gotten to know them well. And I can't tell you how much of a difference it makes in a kid's life and the family's life, really, too. That's their only kid, and he has a disability, but, you wouldn't know it. He's the greatest kid. And all the schools in the New England area are they're embracing this Team Impact program. It's unbelievable. It's really cool.
You mentioned the crafts involved.
Yeah, I think a couple of the crafts are on the board of directors. I don't know how involved. I don't know if they helped create it or not. I only know this through. I know a guy that used to be on the board, or maybe still on the board of directors. He had mentioned he was good friends with the crafts from their younger days, and I know that they are involved somehow. But I need to dig in a little deeper to find out how. I don't know if they were part of the creation of it. Maybe one of their colleagues was, but I know they're on the board. Well, at least one of them. Jonathan Kraft might be one of the crafts is. So they embrace it as well, obviously. So
yeah. The other aspect of the book that we wanted to talk about, we don't have to delve totally into your private life, but the Serenity Prayer or the guidance that you come as you become a grown adult, whether it was from college or after. How much does faith and the Serenity Prayer in particular play a part in Eric's life?
100%, and it's, I think I touched on it briefly with you before, is that, the older you get, the more faith you have. And I think a lot of things change and you look at life a little bit differently. And, you tie in sports and what you've learned as an athlete growing up and how powerful that can be and how strong that can make you when you face adversity. I mean, we all face stress all the time. I mean, it's like at an all-time high across this country with anxiety and the politics and just reading the news. Sometimes you just don't want to read the news because it's like, what the heck's going on here, So I think faith ties in with that, and the older you get, the more faith you have, and the more you want to dive into, whether it's religion or just a spirituality or whatever it is. I think I'm totally on board with that now, and I'm just kind of navigating it now. But I think it comes with age, and it comes with all the challenges you have in life. And I've been so crazy busy for a number of years. And now that my kids are, they're adults now, now it's another phase, another challenge for them and for all of us. So faith is huge. And I'm trying to learn about it even more,
Yeah. I'm not sure if you were exposed to, as I was, the Athletes in Action back in college was like Bible study for athletes. It was a great organization, a lot like, Team Impact.org. Athletes in Action. They had a guy, Walt Day, who was on campus, and I found great comfort, especially dealing with what we were talking about earlier with a new coach and some, trials and tribulations of dealing with a new coach, strong personality, maybe throwing people off the team for periods of time. And it was a incredible source of comfort and strength that I got from Mr. Walt Day. And shout out to wherever I think he's in the New England area. So if you ever
is that right?
cross paths, Walt Day was a great guy.
That's
and
awesome.
Greg Kaloji should going to drop more names, and I would go. We were roommates, but we would go to this Bible study. Most of the more prominent athletes at Syracuse at the time: Tim Green, Howard Trish, Don McPherson, of course, the quarterback from West Hempstead here on Long Island. But great organization, and faith-based ministries and support groups. Nothing but help.
Yeah, and I really wish I had become more of a part of that back then, because I was never really a religious person. But looking back on it now, that really would have been really helpful on all the stuff we had to deal with as a college kid in general, and athletics. I mean, we were going all the time, full force, year round, because of what we were committed to, and managing that with academics isn't always easy for a lot of kids. So.
No doubt. Now, so coming up in September, what do we got? We're going to see each other in person.
We got, September 12th. You got it, man. I guess they're going to, honor our team from 85 again. And they did that 15 years ago. So that'll be good to see all you guys again in person.
Unbelievable.
40 years. God. No, that's crazy. That number is crazy.
And Eric, it's funny. We talked about, what was it, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And the coach was interviewed on the news, or it was before the game, but he said, "Oh, I see these guys out there," and they showed a video of us standing out in the field and said, "They're not young men anymore."
And that was 15 years ago. I know.
And we're out there, waving and stuff.
You should walk out without your pants on, or like in a wheelchair.
Well, the worst part, I was telling Rick, the worst part was one of the players at the time from 2010 was like, "Oh yeah, and the old alums are out there now." So what are they going to say this time? The really old alums are out there, because now it's 15.
No walkers allowed. No wheelchairs.
Now they just whisper to each other and say, "Oh, good job."
Yeah,
you could make it to the midfield line.
Funny.
Was the ball leather? Was the ball? You guys use boots?
Your foot comes off.
The rules were different, that's for sure. But Eric, we appreciate you so much, coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's up next in the terms of broadcasting?
So I think my first game is September 19th, BC, NC State. I think I'm doing that game. I think I'm doing the Duke game. I got to look at the schedule.
So ACC.
ACC, yep. It'll be ACC Network. Sometimes it's on ESPN sometimes it's just on ESPN Plus or ESPN2, but it's the ACC Network. Yeah. So.
Unbelievable. So the game that we are going to be honored at is Stanford.
Stanford, yep. That's the SU Stanford game. Yep. That's probably on TV too. Yeah.
With all your coaching experience, what would your advice be to a senior in high school? What college should what should they look for in a program and a coach?
Good question. It's funny because it all depends on the school too, because like with Babson, because the school's really good and we've had success. I mean, we finished 5th in the country last year, whatever. We did really well. I only had one loss. Kids are coming to us. So it's almost like you have to weed them out. And the first question is, how are you academically? Because Babson's really hard to get into now. So we can't really spend a ton of time with guys that just aren't going to get in. And then it's a matter of figuring out who's going to fit in, Right. But to answer your question, kids are sending videos all the time. I mean, my emails are just swamped, and it's like, you got to weed through them, but you got to have a connection with a coach somehow. And maybe that may be at a showcase camp or something. The key is to reach out and at least get your name out there to let them know you're interested, but you have to be genuine about it, because there are kids that just send this out to every school on the planet. And you got to want to know that the kid wants to come to Babson. He's got to want business. He's got to be a good student. He's got to be a good player. because you can go to many other schools with a lot of different options. But if they want those three things, Babson's the place to go. And they have to fit the bill, if you will. But it's tough for a lot of kids. They're just sending out these resumes and these reels of their playing, and it's kind of a crapshoot sometimes. Unless you really stand out at a showcase, it's hard to be seen.
It's amazing too. Like when we were kids, there was a kid on my lacrosse team, and his dad would send films to coaches, and coach was like, "What is this?" We send scouts out to watch them,
Right.
And he was so ahead of his time, but we were all like sort of laughing at him.
Well,
we were like, "Why he's sending films to coaches?" Now that's all they Back then it was your guy would come watch your game or come watch someone else you play, on your team, and you had a good game.
And it was high school.
Lucky. Yeah, high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's funny too, because we go to watch some kid. We'll go to watch a kid. And he's
happens all the time. Yep.
We see another kid, and he's even better. We're like, oh, let's go after that kid. So yeah, it's interesting. That's the way it's working right now.
That's how I got to college. I played some lacrosse because a guy on my team was like the #1 recruited player in the country.
Roddy Marino.
And all the scouts came to watch him.
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 times I had good games, and guys were like, "Oh, what's your name?"
Yeah.
Taking him, we'll take you.
Absolutely. It's part of being on a good team too. You play with great players, it makes you better. We all know that. Yeah.
Well, Eric, we appreciate you being in the arena. How did it feel?
Oh, it was awesome. This is a great show. I love listening to Joe Piscopo the other night. That was really funny. He sounds like a really good guy. That was awesome.
You're following Joe. You're following Joe, and we appreciate you
being
in now.
Yeah. Let's get him on.
Joe. Yep.
Let's get on the same show together. Me and Joe. We'll chat it up.
Oh, well, I'd love to see that show coming up.
You too.
All right, Eric, we love you, man.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Right. Again, thank Eric Sunstead for being here. Pat O'Rourke, Rick Fatscher. We'll be back with Ray Priebe, Mr. 3000, after this message.
She started to choke on a piece of candy.
She wasn't breathing.
Then Ray reached for the LifeVac, and it saved her.
She could have easily died that day. A LifeVac saved her life. What I would say is don't need a LifeVac and not have it. Have a LifeVac and hopefully never need it.
Recently, the American Red Cross has added anti-choking devices as an option when standard protocol fails or is not feasible.
Go to lifevac.net or call 877-543-3822.
Hey, welcome back to The Man in the Arena. My name is Rick Fatscher. It has been, will remain throughout the show. Pat
My
O'Rourke.
name used to be Rick Fatscher. Now it's Pat O'Rourke.
Thank God you changed it, for God's sakes. Too much confusion.
It would be.
And we miss, as always, Arthur Lee. He's
he cannot be here tonight because can't is not a word.
Right. Maybe he just doesn't like the contraction.
He doesn't like apostrophes.
I don't think, listen, I don't even want to joke about it because he'll come in here and
give
me a good talk.
Tear us up, exactly. We'll need a LifeVac.
Posterior. It's this time of the show where we rely on Mr. 3000. Mr. Ray Priebe. Getting close to 5,000. Mr. Ray Priebe.
Good evening, LifeVackers everywhere. How's everyone doing tonight?
Hey, you're looking dapper for the summertime. You look good.
Yeah, I'm in the AC. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, Florida, it doesn't get cool this time of year.
We got an AC.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And did you notice the green screen is back? Invisible.
I did notice the green screen. Yep.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
So how are you?
Folks. Who's this? Who's this right here?
For those that can't see, it's Princess Maya Priebe.
Princess Maya Priebe.
Princess
number 3,000. Let me explain why she's number 3,000. So on October 20th, 2024, that was 298 days ago, as a matter of fact, I saved Maya using a LifeVac. Since then, there's been 1,512 saves in 298 days. I mean, folks, if you don't have a LifeVac by now, you should get one.
Shame on you. Go to lifevac.com. What was Maya saying?
I love you.
She's being called away. That's the amount of time that we were able to have young Maya on. It's about a 30-second rule. With
Union
SAG.
rules, yes. Child labor.
Yep, exactly. So we got some pretty good numbers tonight. Bobby, do you have a screen for me?
Here comes
Roll
the
it.
screen. Go to live save, everyone. Wow. 2,754 children, 45 5 saves.
I think that's up to 18 now, isn't it? 518.
It's pretty fantastic right there. And if you really think about it, again, in 298 days, 1,512 saves. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing right there. There will come a time when we hit 5,000 saves in 1 year. I just know it.
5,000 in a year.
In a year. In a year.
I hope so.
I wholeheartedly believe.
If that is true, Ray, we could, and that's Arthur's dream, is to have the 5,000 people that die every year of accidental choking eliminated.
It will change statistics. It absolutely will. I wholeheartedly know that this device will change the statistics that are out every single year.
A lot more people need to get protected. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of protected people, let's go to the highlight of the week.
Yes.
Because it's going to give you some goosebumps. It's a good one. The story comes from the mom. My son was choking and the LifeVac dislodged the food before EMS could arrive. He was eating some goldfish crackers and a clump became lodged in his airway. He was lying on the floor and my husband noticed that he may have been ready for a nap, but then noticed something was off. When he approached, he saw that he was salivating and not responding. My husband immediately did back blows in the baby Heimlich maneuver without success. He remembered the device that was in the kitchen. By this point, he was the baby was unconscious and losing color. He was able to get the device, position it correctly, and heard a loud pop. At that point, my son took a huge breath. At this point, 911 had already been called, and they arrived within 3 to 4 minutes. We are 100% certain that the LifeVac saved his life. I simply cannot express our gratitude. Thank you so much to everyone, and everyone should get this device. 1 year old.
Now,
1 year old.
That's the Life Save report where people, use the life. Say, God forbid you have to use it.
Yep.
Definitely report it. And this is unsolicited testimony.
And again, as a parent, when you use this device, I mean, and I can speak from experience, it works. And again, the last thing you want to do is be in a position where your child, loved one, parent, stranger is choking around you and there's no help. This device will provide that help.
Wow. Can you imagine even like a 1 year old? You're like, oh, he's just sleeping. You walk away.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Was that the color? I didn't hear. Was it the color change or
color was changing? Yes. Yep. And at that point, he was unconscious. So it was pretty far along.
Yep.
Yeah. And what part of the country was that again?
Did not give a location.
That's HIPAA protected. I know location.
Yeah, that is HIPAA protected. So we did not get a location on that one.
Now, Ray, you have a catchphrase that's sweeping the country.
I do. I think I do.
Yes,
I remember it now.
Yes.
LifeVac. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. The life you save could be your own, or your child, or your parent. Could be a stranger. Who knows? Save a life. Thanks, folks. Love you guys. God
Amazing.
bless.
Always great, Ray. Good stuff.
Mr. 3K, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Fantastic. Wow. So, we're going to soon announce the contest, Pat, where 5,000 lives, it's going to be a big celebration. People at the home office are feverishly working on a contest and the rules and laying it out, how it, the most fair way. I think there's going to be certain criteria more so than pick the date, because you can do the math and narrow it down to about a week. But more people are going to pick, like if people pick the same day, say November 9th, like that's the day mathematically that's going to work.
Can I choke myself 3 times that day to get 3 saves?
No, that's going to be, I'm afraid that's going to be in the rules, Pat.
Okay.
No
No
self-inflicted
self-asphyxiating.
saves.
Okay.
No. You can't guess and then win yourself.
You got it.
Especially if the save is against yourself. But what number, like, you have a date in mind or a ballpark in mind? Because you're always
I always
shooting
try
on the
to,
math.
I'm thinking Thanksgiving-ish. When do we have 500 left, right? But it's weird. So it was going like 60, 70 a week. And I think the last couple, well, it's still keeping that pace.
Keeping that pace.
Yeah.
I think what happens a lot is you see the dates and you see the date of the occurrence, not always like day of.
Right.
So a lot of them come in after the fact or around holidays. It's, there's a lull. But I think what we need to do, and next week we're going to talk more about the show next week.
It's like 100 days away.
We have Roadshow Ryan going to be in studio.
Yes.
Roadshow Ryan is in Chantilly, Virginia. Chantilly, Virginia. I didn't even know there was a Chantilly, Virginia out there. But this gentleman, Roadshow Ryan, is.
Do you think that's where Chantilly lace comes from?
Who knows? We're going to find out next Thursday.
Roadshow will let us know.
But I bring him up because he's doing amazing work for LifeVac out on the road, in Costco's all across the country. He's been in Texas. He's been definitely covered New York and Connecticut and upstate New York, Texas. Now he's in Virginia, but he routinely comes across people that come up to him and tell him that they use the LifeVac. Did you report it? No. So, you always say that's got to be probably double.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. So we may even, if people would wake up and report the live save, we may already be at 5,000. So it could happen any day. But we're going to be back to close out the Man in the Arena after this message.
Hi, I'm Arthur Lee, CEO and inventor of LifeVac, a simple choking rescue device that saved over 4,000 people. 13 years ago when we came up with LifeVac, the design was to be safe and simple. You simply push and pull. There's a vent system, so when you push it down, the air will go out the side. There's a ball valve that locks when you pull it up. With any success, there's going to be copies, and normally that's the way it is. Now, LifeVac is FDA registered manufacturer in New York. A lot of these products, and this is one of the most popular ones, is made in China. But the real problem, it's about $10 to $15 cheaper. If you put your finger over this, you won't be able to push it down. Now, I understand money's money, but this is someone's life at stake. So if you bought this, make sure you practice and don't put your thing. If you put it like this or like this, it won't work, and your loved one's going to die. I understand to buy a cheaper product, but you have to also remember when you buy a cheaper product, you get a cheaper product, and someone's life is at stake. So if you're thinking of buying it, make sure you understand you cannot do it this way. And two, if someone you love owns this, make sure that when they use it, they have the wherewithal in panic situations not to cover this vet with their phone trying to push it down. Strictly a PSA. I hope you buy a LifeVac because I know it's good and I know it works because I made it and it lasts forever. But if you do go with this, please be careful. $10 is a life mistake. Thank you.
What a great message from Arthur Lee. Now, I don't know, as this show is broadcast throughout the country, especially on the weekend, because we're live on Facebook and YouTube now. God bless everyone for tuning
Throughout
in,
the wide
liking
world.
and sharing.
Yes.
And we get to your comments. We may not get to them today, but we will get to them eventually. So we appreciate you so much for calling. But we don't know the date of the airing or the commercial messages that are shown, but we just listened to a very critical message from Arthur Lee, CEO and inventor of LifeVac, concerning the danger of the knockoffs and counterfeits that, when people go online, please, for God's sakes, go to lifevac.net. Use code MITA, get the original. If you're going to go through the trouble of going through the steps of protecting your family.
Yeah.
Get the original, get the unique.
Would you get your eyes done by a doctor who had it on sale?
I don't think I would.
No.
Thanks for
pointing
that out.
Yes.
No, go to
Get the real thing.
lifevac.net,
Yes.
get the real thing. Don't mess around, because you can, on average, get a real LifeVac on Amazon, but why take the chance? Because there's a certain percent. I don't know exactly what it is, but if you go on there, you will see counterfeits. You will see knockoffs. You will see on Facebook posts.
Same color scheme, same patterns.
Everything's ripped off, including Arthur's likeness, his story,
Mostly
his
from
daughter's
China.
likeness. Yeah, it does mostly, on average, come from overseas, a long, long way away. But you get the original and use code MITA. So lifevac.net. Use code MITA. You can get a copy of, while you're there, get a copy of Arthur's book. And there's the coupon, 15% off. Use code MITA.
Man in the arena.
Mita. So, Pat, it's been a great show. We've talked to Eric Sunstead, who it's always great.
Interesting guy, the Babson head coach for years. Just recently retired.
17 years at Babson, and fell into, I wouldn't say fell into it, but just reached out. No one's, said, how you get into coaching?
How long has Babson been a co-ed school?
That's a great question.
I think because when we were kids, I think it was just a girls' school.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Wasn't even on my purview. And we talk about the amount of schools that through the advent of the internet and how recruiting has changed, some of these schools, which I'd never heard of, are now prominent programs because they embrace the media and they embrace the way, and they marketed themselves and marketed their programs in a way that made them a household name. Like we talked before about Bryan College and
sports will always grow your school. It will.
Absolutely.
Makes academics better too if you have good sports.
Good sports, and no one knows that better than you, because the Terps, you were there during some pretty prolific times in Maryland.
Football was real good, and basketball too, with
Len Bias.
Len Bias and
Boomer?
Hungry Herman Veal. Yep. And then Boomer Esiason. Yep.
Hungry who?
Hungry Herman was a big center on our basketball team, and they named a sandwich after him. That to this day is still a sandwich in College Park, Maryland. Hungry Herman Veal. His last name was Veal.
Do you remember
the Veal sandwich?
Do you remember the basketball player from Syracuse, Herm Hareed? They call him the copter.
He's just an arm span of like a giraffe.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought
Pearl
of.
Washington. He was a little before our time.
Yeah, no doubt. So we have a show coming up, which we referenced the not knowing exactly when this is airing. I think this is the following weekend. So we may be airing this show while we're in Dallas for Brian Kilmeade's History, Liberty, and Laughs tour. Dallas, do you know the name of the theater?
The Windspear. It's 4 levels, a big opera house.
And it's the big to date, it's the biggest show, biggest venue that we've
2,400.
And bigger than Las Vegas.
I thought Vegas was, and then I saw a couple others. I was like, wow, this is a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Whatever he says, I believe.
But we want to bring up the date that we can absolutely promote and absolutely tell people about and get people to. And Bobby, if you have that, yep, there it is, September 27th.
Yep.
And can I see that? Let me just
Richmond, Virginia.
September 27th, Dominion.
Don't knock over
Dominion Energy Center.
Yes. We got to reach out to Dan DeLucy. I believe he lives down there.
Pat, talk about the amount of fun that, from the beginning, you would go out and do stand-up. I don't know what I was doing there other than keeping you guys company, come out in the middle, sputter out some sentence fragments and introduce you. But once we started getting incorporated into the
skits,
into the show, into the skits, we started out with 3, and now it's grown to where each book and now he's writing more books.
I know. So we got to get more bad costumes. Yes, we're up to I think 6 or 7 parts each, and we just explain a little bit with a little bit of humor to it, what's happening in his books. So.
Right. So we start off with George Washington's Secret Six.
Yes.
Great story about the
spy ring from
Long Island that changed the course of the American Revolution. And then we move on to Thomas Jefferson, the Tripoli Pirates. We talk about Andrew Jackson and the Battle of New Orleans, Sam Houston, the
Alamo Avengers. That'll be a big one
that.
Next week down in Dallas.
That's going to be huge, and we expect a surprise
couple
appearance.
Surprise guests from Fox TV. Yes,
but by all means, go. There's a certain kinship that exists between Brian Kilmeade and Arthur Lee of LifeVac. That Arthur is at just about every show.
Yes, he is.
Just about every show that he's able to go to.
Turn around and there's always Arthur right there, which doesn't bother. I love him. but he's always right there.
and he runs into, he gets himself involved in the show.
Yes, he does.
He'll usher me out of Santa Ana,
Yep.
capture me. He's done that a couple of times. And I look
couple
forward-
shout outs during shows even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And I think even one time we put a LifeVac on the table when we were having dinner.
Yes, when Teddy Roosevelt was having dinner with Booker T.
Washington, yes.
There was a LifeVac,
On the table.
and I inquired as Booker T. Washington. I said, "What's that?" And you said, "Don't worry,
In
it's
the
a
future,
LifeVac.
it's going to be real big.
It's going to be
It's
real
gonna save
big.
lives.
Yeah. So which of the two things. Which is your favorite of the skits that we do, and which is the one that offers the most challenge in costume changes and timing?
Oh well,
I know what you're going to say.
Well, I think Sam Houston in the Alamo Avengers, I think it gets the best reaction every time because there's a lot of good lines in that skit, and it's such an interesting story about how everything went down, and we just act that out, but we do it in a goofy way, and we throw some of our own lines in.
And because it's timely in that there's a certain thing that people aren't
Brian
really paying attention
Brian
to
will
the
spend
news.
7 or 8 minutes on each book. But
Yeah.
sometimes, and Brian, I've never seen him do the same show twice. So sometimes I'll just turn around and go, all right, I'm cutting that section out. And he'll go right on to the next skit. And you're running up the stairs with your bad wig and you're falling out of your pants and trying to get back out there. And they put these microphones on you. And listen, comedy is the lowest form of showbiz. You stay at the worst hotels. You get you promised $400. Oh, no one came. Here's $100. Like you're just treated like terrible. You can attest. We fly, first class. We get picked up by these security vans right to the back of these beautiful theaters we go to. One time I was backstage and I said, I need some ice. And the guy's talent needs some ice. I'm like, no, I need some ice. He goes,
No.
You're the talent. I'm like, oh my God, we're the talent. So it's like being a movie star. It's unbelievable.
It really
right?
is.
Then you go back home on Monday and you're like, what just happened? And me and you were exhausted till Wednesday. Brian's on the air Monday morning, sometimes 2-3 hours later. He drops us off at midnight on a Sunday night. He's back at work 6 hours later.
I often want to say something to that effect when I come out for the first time. Like people have an appreciation, and most people do that are there. But when we return from one of these shows, and I know from talking to you, we're peeling ourselves out of bed Monday morning, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday.
Not even hangover. You're just exhausted because a lot of these, we've done 2 shows in a weekend where you fly in here, you go in there, you're doing this, you get home, you're like, well, what just happened? You met all these people, you went to all these places, or the meet and greet. It's so compacted in, but that's his whole life all the time.
Yep. And he's been doing it. He continues to do it. And again, I remember him about a month ago telling us that he's going to take a break from writing for a while, and that lasted.
Then
about
he signed a 3-book
2
deal.
weeks.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. Yeah, so he's got 3 more books at least.
New Games Do Count, new history book, or 2 new history books.
Well, yeah, 1 history book.
Can't wait.
I don't know if we're ready to give ideas, but he gave us an idea of what the history book's going to be.
Yeah,
and it'll involve several events.
But I mentioned the kinship the connection between LifeVac. Of course, Arthur Lee played for Brian Kilmeade's soccer team back in high school. They remain not the closest, but certainly connected to each other.
There's no friendship
in a way
like
that
Brian,
in a way that Brian was one of the first media opportunities for the word or the notion of LifeVac to get out there to
radio
the,
first,
to the masses.
TV. Yep.
And now the Fox News Channel and Brian Kilmeade are responsible for about 30 lives saved.
Wow.
So it's right up there on the media leaderboard.
Can they measure that from the radio too? Or
well, when people are asked, how did you hear about it?
Oh, okay, they tell you.
So
okay.
they mentioned Brian by name with Fox News Channel, which all gets credited to Brian because he was the first.
Did they ever say Roadshow Ryan?
I think the Roadshow Ryan.
He's probably got 5 or 6, I bet, by now.
It's probably coming. It's probably there.
All over
He was involved.
country.
He was involved a couple weeks ago with an assist where someone saved a life, and they credited running into Ryan at Costco and getting trained on it.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. We're out of time, and I think it's time. Pat, thank you so much.
Thanks for letting me be here again.
Yeah, I've been Rick Fatscher. This has been The Man in the Arena, and it's time for Mike Rowe to take us home. And good night, Eric Sunstead.
Thanks.
It's no joke when you choke, so get LifeVac and live. Without breath, there'll be death. So get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live.
LifeVac and live.